The little 10mm is one of the hardest things to take out. You'll be down there a good 10 minutes.
We're driving cars on a Mars tonight. We're blasting off to the stars tonight. We wanna go, go. We wanna go, go.
Alright guys, welcome to the channel. In this video we're going to be going over part 3 of how to steer on your Ford Bronco. In this video we're going to be installing a Haas 3.0 in Brandon's Bronco, explaining why you might need one, when that upgrade might be practical. He's got 13,000 miles on his Bronco, he's running 37s, he hits the Rubicon, Mojave Trail, he bombs through the desert, all those reasons as to why you might need a Haas 3.0. Now in addition to that, we're going to be installing the Stage 1 74 weld brace kit on his steering rack before we put that sucker on the Bronco. We're going to be showing you that as well, and then we're going to dissect his stock 2.0 rack with 13,000 miles on it and show you the wear and tear after 13,000 miles, with a lot of those miles being on 37s and a lift kit from Radflow. Now Brandon's Bronco was featured in the Bronco suspension review, so check that video out. I'll put the link right here on the top. And check out the other videos I have on the series as well, guys. I have a Bronkbuster 2.0 kit install. Can't complain about free labor. And then I also have a video on the dissecting a stock 2.0 rack as well from 35s and the carnage that ensued inside that rack. Check those videos out and let's get started on wrenching.
Get all that you want to.
Now they've already removed all the bolts here and they're just pulling the steering rack right out.
So
This is the fun part.
here, 1 second.
So it's got to go through.
It does. There we go. Don't fight it. Just start twisting it slowly, and it'll somehow magic.
There we go.
Okay, forward a little. I gotta go. Now you're in.
Ta-da.
Ta-da.
Ready?
Oh yeah. So we're going to check the carnage on this rack real quick, see if there's any damage, any metal. And right there, guys, we have some metal shards coming out of his rack. And this is on the passenger side. This driver bushing right here actually looks pretty good. I'm not really seeing much chewing on any of the rubber. All right, guys, we're looking at the different racks here. This is the 2.0 we just pulled out. It's in pretty good shape. He had some metal shavings on the passenger side, which means that he's going to be rubbing a little bit on his housing. But driver side bushing was totally fine, and this rack is still good to go and continue to be used. This is another 2.0 rack that is a good example of why you might need a bushing installed on it. As we can see, this valve thing, I don't even know what it's called.
That's the tensioner.
Tensioner popped right out of the housing, and that rack is done.
I'll explain it a little. So, on these racks, when you look in here, there's a little pocket in between right behind here. So what happens is this can deflect up. See how this one moves up? The tensioner keeps it in place. What happens is this has a very little bit of take up in there. It comes up too far and it actually pushes this cap off with the tensioner. It just shears it right off. So when you buy a bushing, what you're doing is preventing this steering shaft from moving up and popping this out. And that's why this bushing works. Without having that preventative movement, this is kind of what happens in the end. This rack had 2,000 miles on it, and it just failed out of the blue after we had aired up tires. I probably damaged it before then. I just didn't know it.
So an example of the different bushings we have on the driver's side, like Nathan just explained, what you need to replace. This is a stock bushing. This is all tore up. You can see it's all ripped out to pieces right there. It should look something like this, but as you can see, it doesn't. This is Bronkbuster's bushing. It's a kind of like an engineered plastic type of material. It's what's in my Bronco. Check out that video for that. And this is the one we'll be installing today. This is the 74 weld. It is a hard rubber type plastic material, more like a hard plastic with the impregnated bronze bushing inside of it. But we're going to be putting that bad boy in the 3.0, along with 74 welds passenger housing as well, which is just billet aluminum with that impregnated bronze bushing there as well. So the reason, guys, you want to replace those components on your 2.0 rack, the passenger side housing, you're going to prevent that deflection sawing against the housing, eventually cracking it, shattering your rack. On the driver's side, like you explained, that bushing is going to prevent that deflection popping out your tensioner right there or causing other issues with your rack. Now, why would you want to upgrade to a 3.0 rack versus a 2.0 rack? Well, that's a good question. All right, guys. So right here we have the two racks. This is the old 2.0 out of his Bronco stock. This is the Haas 3.0 going in his Bronco before we put the 74 weld parts on. Now the main differences between the 2.0 and the 3.0 is going to be first in the motor. You're going to have 30% more torque on this motor, a little bit of a bigger motor. Kind of think of it like a lesser version of hydro steer. It's going to be a little bit easier to turn in the rocks. If you're having issues with your 2.0 rack overheating when you're steering in the rocks on bigger tires, it might be time for a 3.0 rack. Another reason you'd want that higher torque motor as well is if you're running a higher offset wheel, bigger scrub radius, a little bit more power is needed to turn those wheels, and that extra power will help you in that area as well. Now the other difference on the 3.0 rack is you can see the housing is a little bit different, right? It's a little bit of a thicker material. It has more ribbing on it for strength on the casing right here. Also, the housing on the driver's side is a little bit different so that there's less play, because as we talked about in there's a lot of play. It bounces up and down, it deflects in the rack, and it can pop out that tensioner. There's less play on this side, so you're less likely to pop out that tensioner. But regardless, we're going to be installing the 74 weld bushing on the driver's side to completely eliminate that possibility. And then over there on the passenger side, we're going to be putting that housing on as well, so there's no rubbing on the casing with time, because we are going to be on a lifted Bronco. All right, first we're going to work on the housing over here. We're going to take this sucker off and install our 3.0 stage 1 74 weld housing, because we like a lot of words. What's that for?
Housing.
Oh, are we going to take the boot off first?
Would make sense. I don't know how to do that, so.
Neither do I. I've always just hit it with a screwdriver. So what you do on this is you hit it from here
Okay.
with the screwdriver. Pops it loose. Bingo. Comes right out. You might be able to reuse that. We'll see. There we go.
You'll want to release that and slide it
yeah.
down more.
Do you have a? Yep.
Bunch on the ground. You got them all over. All kinds of tools.
Yeah, because I
Mm-hmm.
had an employer buy me those one time. That's what happens when you work Christmas Eve.
There you go.
You start buying thousands of dollars worth of stuff.
Okay, come on. This is.
I can't remember which way these things
There you go. All right. So now get something that will go into that.
Bigger now, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Lefty loosey, righty tighty.
They come around.
So Caleb's not looking silly.
Ready?
Bingo.
First time we did that, we used the pipe wrench from the house, and that was a bad idea.
Mm. All right, there's one Haas 3.0 tie rod.
Take off.
All right, next, ignore that. We're going to take these bolts out, and the housing will pop off, and we'll replace it. It is so much easier when it's off the Bronco.
Good to know.
I did this on the Bronco. It took me hours.
One's backwards.
Yeah. All. It might take more than that. I had to use like a soft mallet like that and just, because you see that, all that.
Yeah, they give you a pry thing, but you probably break the ear right off.
Well, I've only done it once, and I'm not going to say that I had the perfect
Example.
Yeah.
Yeah, they give you that, but that's a little thin ear.
I did this on the Bronco and I broke it.
Okay, we don't want to do that.
So let's tap on the bushing right here. Let's just give it some nice, good love taps on the bushing.
It's not going to come out. You got to put the bolt in it.
Just in case I have evidence.
Basically glued on.
Here, turn it over. This side's secured.
All right, don't gouge it too much.
Hello? Hello?
Hi!
So you did show up.
Oh, hell, you sent me that text. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Listen to expensive pieces of
This
metal.
is my homeless neighbor.
We got like $6 grand in Bronco steering racks out here, so.
I like that. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's the belt. You never seen one?
Nope.
Well, that's it.
So that's the wear part, I would assume.
Yep.
So you look like a professional. Here's a gasket scraper and baby butt wipes are right here because they work really
Okay.
well.
Now we gotta scrape the gasket off and be careful, don't destroy your belt. That would be bad.
That's okay. I got a spare over there.
You got wipes.
Yeah. I
Baby
just
wipes.
handed-
No,
It's in-
like paper towels right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baby wipes.
No, paper towels.
I'm an adult.
I usually would use a razor. Because you really don't want to get all that gunk down into the rack.
Yeah, I'm trying not to. I'm just kind of going.
We can blow it out with the air compressor, but
Surgery?
let me clean this area out.
So here's the gift.
Thank you. Doing, yeah, return the favor someday.
Well,
You're never gonna break
that's
that.
junk,
Yeah.
and I might as well.
Use what's good.
Oh, did I pull it out of your good one? I did.
You did.
Oh well.
The broken one's right there.
Jesus, good God. Never mind.
You got a broken rack here too?
Alright.
We got everything here.
It's not broken.
So you want to make sure and get all this old gasket material off. Take your time. Use a razor blade if you need to. Just don't gouge the belt, like hopefully Brandon won't do. And then once he gets that off, we can replace it with the new housing. All right, so you're going to have to take your old bushing out of your old rack and you're going to have to reinstall it into the 74 weld housing. And when you reinstall it, you got to press it in. Now they have some grease. You can just put some grease on there, some lube, so to speak.
I've already lubed it.
He's already lubed it. He's really good at that. And then we're going to take this press, so to speak, C-clamp, and we're going to squeeze that sucker in before we place it back on the rack.
And the reason you do this is so it fits in, because otherwise it's a really tight fit.
Yeah, very tight fit. Rubber going into metal.
Nope.
All right, we're going to take the 74 weld housing, guys, and we're going to take some gasket maker, and we're going to put a nice thin line around that so we can seal off that housing when we put it on the rack. It's a nice rack.
I hit both sides. I should have put more on there, but
Bolts, 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 bolts.
bolts it is.
All right, guys, we have the 74 weld housing back on the 3.0 rack. And something to note, guys, this is billet aluminum and this is cast. You do not want to over torque these bolts going back in. So after you put that gasket on there, put that sucker back on, pop those things on, give it a couple ooga doogas, but don't over torque it because you don't want to strip anything out. That wouldn't be nice. We don't like to strip our racks. We like nice racks. All right, so we got that on, and now we're gonna move to the driver's side. We're gonna pop that driver's side bushing in, and then this rack is gonna go back in the Bronco, and we're gonna call it a day.
All right. go get some 3 screws and some baling wire.
So now we're going to take that bushing out on that driver's side and replace it with the 74 weld one.
On this exactly yet, so we're experimenting. That's the fun part today. I'm gonna be smarter. I'm gonna do a pilot hole. Did it pull it?
It destroyed it. All right, so we got that bushing in. You just line up the lobe with the lobe in there. Use the included PVC part to tap it in with the hammer until it doesn't go anymore. Then take your snap ring, put it in as well. Tap that in the rest of the way with the same PVC pipe. And that's it. Driver's side bushings installed. It's looking fantastic, as you can see. There's no play, no wiggle room. That thing is going to be running nice and smooth. And then same on this side, that's all done. So now we just got to put our rack back in the Bronco. All right, so it's really easy. You just slide that new rack back up into your place, put your 2 bolts in, and then you're going to just start bolting everything back together, guys. Your tie rod ends, your harness, hook that up. Your steering, you're going to want to hook the steering column up and these 2 bolts, and that's it. All dunzos. All right, guys, well, that's it. The rack is in the Bronco. We're just going to wrap up some stuff, and the next thing you'll see, we'll be on the trails testing it out, showing you how it's working so far. Cool your ash, pack your trash. Now, something to keep in mind. Now, something to keep in mind, guys, is 74 Weld sells this as a good fix, right? It solves the 2 main issues you have with the 2.0 and even the 3.0 rack. However, they do recommend if you're going to be doing hardcore rock bouncing, that kind of crazy stuff, think like running 37s 40-inch tires regularly, hitting the Rubicon, desert at high speeds, like massive heavy duty off-roading constantly, you might want to think about their full rack enclosure, because that way you're not going to run into any issues down the road. Check them out, send the link below, comment, share, subscribe, bye.